Top 10 British Comedy Films by Steve Bowers. No other country does comedy quite like the British. More than most other nations, the British are willing to laugh at anything as long as it's funny. Let's take a look at the films that have had Brits crying with laughter for decades. Number 10. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, 1994. 4 Weddings and a Funeral is the highest grossing British film of all time, making $244 million worldwide. The film is about a group of friends, some of whom are in love, some of whom think they're in love, and some of whom are not in love at all. Memorable quote, Carrie. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you who've flown in from the States. I'm really touched. As for the rest of you, I'd have thought that lots of awful Americans flying in was an excuse for not coming, so I thank you too. Number 9. Kind Hearts and Coronets, 1949. Directed by Robert Hamer, Kind Hearts and Coronets is a classic British comedy. It stars Dennis Price as Louis Mazzini, the 8th in line to a dukedom. In revenge against an upper-class family, he must murder the 8 people, all played by Sir Alec Guinness, before him in line to the title. Memorable quote, Louis. It is so difficult to make a neat job of killing people with whom one is not on friendly terms. Number 8. Alfie, 1966. Michael Caine stars as Alfie, a young man who is not a bad sort. His main weakness is his irresistible urge for women. The film shows Alfie seducing just about every woman he comes across. It's not slapstick humour, but there are plenty of funny moments. Memorable quote, Alfie. I don't want no bird's respect. I wouldn't know what to do with it. Number 7. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, 1975. The first proper feature-length Monty Python film follows King Arthur, Graham Chapman, as he leads his Knights of the Round Table on a quest to find the Holy Grail. On their travels, they encounter a killer rabbit, the knights who say Ni, the Black Knight, and God himself. Watch it, and the last sentence will make sense. Sort of. Memorable quote, King Arthur. On second thought, let's not go to Camelot. It is a silly place. Number 6. Kevin and Perry Go Large, 2000. This film, adapted from a popular sketch by comedians Harry Enfield and Kathy Burke, stars a number of British comedians. It is set in Ibiza, where typical unruly British teenager Kevin, Enfield, goes on holiday with his friend Perry, Burke, for one thing, girls. Memorable quote, Perry, just after his friend Harry Patterson has argued with his parents and run out of the room. Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, could I have a jam sandwich, please? Number 5. A Fish Called Wanda, 1988. Written by and starring John Cleese, A Fish Called Wanda is the story of a diamond robbery gone wrong. Classic moments include Cleese burgling his own house, and Michael Palin as an animal lover who is distraught after killing 3 small dogs. Memorable quote, Wanda. To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people. I've known sheep who could outwit you. I've worn dresses with higher IQs. Number 4. The Full Monty, 1997. Robert Carlyle stars as Gaz, an unemployed steelworker in the northeast city of Sheffield. Desperate for money, he convinces similarly desperate men to form a group of strippers. The film follows 6 fat and attractive men learning to dance and take their clothes off. The film won an Oscar for Best Music. Memorable quote, Gerald to the other men. Dancers have coordination, skill, timing, fitness, and grace. Take a long, hard look in the mirror. Number 3. Shaun of the Dead, 2004. Shaun of the Dead was a spoof of classic zombie and horror films, Dawn of the Dead in particular. The film follows Shaun, Simon Pegg, and best friend Ed, Nick Frost, as they battle zombies in suburban England in an effort to save Shaun's mother and his newly ex-girlfriend. Lots of fun with zombies, music from Queen, and a massive gun in a pub. Memorable quote, Ed. Why do you want to save Liz anyway? Sean, angry. Because I love her. Ed, alright, gay. Number 2. Bridget Jones's Diary, 2001. This film, adapted from a novel partly based on Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, was a massive British hit. Controversial, as the leading role was played by an American actress, the film nonetheless is widely thought of as a successful, and most importantly, a hilarious comedy. Memorable quote, Darcy. I realised that when I met you at the turkey curry buffet, I was unforgivably rude, and wearing a reindeer jumper. Number 1. Monty Python's Life of Brian, 1979. Life of Brian is quite possibly the funniest film of all time. The Python's heretic tale follows Brian of Nazareth, born at the same time as Jesus Christ. Similarities between the lives of Brian and Christ show the shortcomings of religion in general. It was called blasphemous by Christian groups, which only shows that they missed the point entirely. Memorable quote, Brian's mother. He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy.